RUM, the Royal University of the Midrealm, had an amazing event last week. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the teachers for teaching. Thank you to the students for attending. And thank you to the RUM staff for your assistance in making this a successful event. As it was originally when this was being scheduled, we had 54 classes sign up to teach. And then we had 14 cancellations over the last couple of weeks, but then we had 12 classes step up to teach. And so we ended up with 52 classes total. And among these, 6 of them were on Zoom, so they were being recorded live for students to attend virtually if they could not physically be at the event in Chicago. And these classes were also recorded and they are being put up on the RUM YouTube channel, so please check out the YouTube channel for those classes, as well as some of the other classes that were also recorded. And with that, I really want to say thank you to Odette for being the moderator that day for the Zoom classes, because another one of our staff had to cancel, and so Odette, she stepped up and she was the moderator all day for all of the Zoom classes, and I very much appreciate her. Thank you so much. As it was, some of our RUM staff could not physically be there at the event. They helped out with other things prior to the event, and that's because some of them had a scheduling conflict where actually they had another event to attend, because that event had been scheduled before the RUM event had been put on the Kingdom calendar. And so I totally understand why some of the RUM staff couldn't have been there, but that's why I am so grateful for Odette with helping out with the Zoom classes. Thank you to Emer, who is the RUM librarian. She was there all day hosting the library downstairs. And with the library, what that is people can bring in their books and leave it for the day at the library, and that way other people can look at the book, be able to see, is this a book I'm interested in, or maybe I hadn't heard of this book, and then they get to see it and then like maybe, ooh, I have to go get this book. This is the book for me. So it's a way to share knowledge with others for the day, and Emer ran the library all day, so thank you to her. Also, thank you to my husband who, because the Vice Chancellor position opened up and no one else wanted it, I more or less had a conversation with him and said, please, I need a Vice Chancellor, because he was going to be at RUM anyways. He was going to be helping me out wherever needed. So like, hey, why not step up into the Vice Chancellor position and help me out, and you get a title with it. And so he agreed. But I want to say thank you so much to him, because he helped with the teacher check-in before he went to teach not one, but 2 classes. He was already teaching 1 class on 16th century German daggers, but then he ended up teaching another class because, well, with the cancellations, he stepped up last minute to teach a 2nd class. I would like to thank Thora, the scheduler for RUM. Being a scheduler is no easy feat. I mean by that, imagine trying to schedule 54 classes, but with that, some of the classes might need to be in the morning, some might be in the afternoon, some might need carpet, while others need a tile floor, and that's specifically if they're dealing with anything like with paints. Some might need a sink nearby because they are dealing with calligraphy and illumination. Some classes might need a projector. Some classes might need a stove or an oven because they're cooking. Some might need a tall ceiling because they're teaching a fighting class and they have a pole arm and they need the ceiling clearance. And so trying to coordinate fitting everyone in, because also another thing is, say you have 2 embroidery classes on the same day, and that's it, 2 embroidery classes. You don't want both embroidery classes both at 1 o'clock, because the people attending the first embroidery class will most likely also be attending the 2nd class. And so you want to try to coordinate the schedule as best as possible, and it is a full-time job trying to figure out the schedule, and then as cancellations come in, and then you're trying to fill spots, and then so sometimes it doesn't look really quite right why one class was in one room without a sink, but they were doing calligraphy, and then a lecture ends up being in a room with a sink where you could have swapped them out, but that's because of a last-minute cancellation. It is a juggling act, and I am so eternally grateful for her and all of the amazing work that she does. I would also like to thank our web minister, Royshan, as well as our social media officer, Sarah, because whenever there was a change, there was an update, I could message both of them, and within the next 24 hours, sometimes, actually a lot of the time, it was within the next hour or two, things were being updated on social media, on the website, to reflect any of the changes, any of the updates, and that way we could try to get out the information, the most up-to-date information out there as quickly as possible. And thank you to them for bearing with me and all of the changes that happened and all the posts that needed to be added and updated. So just thank you. I would also like to thank Percival, who is both the exchequer as well as the provost for RUM. As provost, when you are a teacher who has taught a class or a student who has taken a class and you submit those credits online on the RUM website for credit, that information, the provost takes that information and calculates your hours. He also updates the information to go on the website so that you can see your updated transcript and know what classes you have taken, but also to know what degree you have received or will be receiving. And it was through his calculation that he tallied everything up to help me know which degrees to print out and then sign to then give out at this year's commencement ceremony. So thank you so much to him for being both the provost as well as the exchequer. Also, thank you to Nicolo for doing all of the teacher features for social media. If you happen to be on Facebook, if you happen to be on Discord and you saw any of those teacher features, he is the one who did them and they look amazing. If you were a teacher at RUM, then you would have received a bag, and inside your goodie bag was a thank you card. There was also a magnet, and this magnet has the wrong year on it, but these were magnets that were from a previous RUM, and we had so many left over that rather than just holding on to these magnets for no purpose, I wanted to pass them out and let others also get their very own RUM magnet. Another thing that you would have received was a RUM pin, and then there are these RUM coins. Each teacher got 2 coins. These coins were made by my husband Reinhold. On one side is the RUM symbol, and on the other side is the Midrealm dragon. Another thing that you would have received is a little pouch with beeswax cakes in it that are bee themed. So some of the molds might either have a honey bee, a jar of honey, a honeycomb. I just thought they were really cute, and so you have beeswax cakes. And then if you were teaching 2 classes, you also received a little battery operated candle. As I mentioned before, there were a few hiccups for the event. For example, the day before the event, we showed up to help set up and then found out 2 of the classrooms were actually having to be moved to other classrooms, which meant that there was a change on the schedule. The problem was my Excel spreadsheet to update it was on my computer, which was over 5 hours away at home. So I did not have the Excel spreadsheet. We had already printed out over 100 copies of the schedule. And so the schedule had to be recreated that night, like 10 o'clock at night, trying to recreate the schedule. And then with that, the formatting ended up being different and it didn't turn out quite right. So then on the day of the event, there were a couple of, there was some confusion where it looked like the one class may have started at 3:30 when it was supposed to start at 4. So with that, I am so very sorry for any confusion on the day of. I am very much a perfectionist, and trust me, I have been kicking myself all week on this because I am the person, I like to make sure all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. And yes, I know not everything can go perfectly, but I can certainly try. And so I just want to thank you to everyone. Just thank you for your patience, for your understanding, and I am still happy that the event went as well as it did. Everyone was full of smiles, and overall it was a great day. And so with that, here is part of my commencement speech.
The motto of the Royal University of the Midrealm is Non Iniculus Lux, the literal translation of which is, for even the spark is light. But the word iniculus also means ardor or love. So for even the spark is light, but also for even love is light. When the scheduling for the specific RUM first was completed, we had 53 classes signed up to teach. Through many changes with the schedule over the last couple of weeks due to class cancellations and additions, we had 14 classes canceled and 12 new classes added. I want to thank the RUM staff for their assistance, the students for their patience, and the teachers, especially those who volunteered at the last minute, to make this a successful event. In my 7 years of involvement as Dean of Youth Education and now as Chancellor in this university, I have seen unparalleled passion, love, dedication for knowledge, and the desire that knowledge share it with others. I am in awe of everyone who participates with this university. I appreciate you all, and I am proud to be your Chancellor. Thank you for everyone for all that you do. Love is light. We shine.